I still remember the sound, the spit landing on my cheek, hot and sharp like acid. My husband didn't flinch, didn't hesitate, didn't even ask if it was true. His mother's curses sliced the air. His sisters clawed at my arms, dragged me through the streets like an animal. And the whole time, he just watched. My husband, the man I once thought would burn the world for me. I didn't scream, I didn't beg, I let them shred me in front of the neighborhood. Let them laugh, point, whisper. Because deep down, I knew something they didn't. The truth doesn't hide forever. We were 19 when we met. He had fire in his eyes. I had nothing but hunger for more than the life I was born into. Together, we were unstoppable, or so I thought. He kissed me like I was air after drowning, promised me forever, swore no one could come between us. I believed him. I believed him when he pulled me away from his family's suspicions, when he told me I was all that mattered. I even believed him the night he slipped a ring on my finger, hand shaking with love. But love doesn't blind you forever. Eventually, you learn to see. It began with shadows, his brother's stare lingering too long, a smirk whenever I entered the room, the brush of a hand across my waist at family dinners. Small things, easy to excuse, until they weren't. One night I found the text, his brother's number, his words. I'll tell him you begged me for it, that you're carrying my child. He'll believe me. He always believes me. My chest went still. I didn't cry, didn't break the phone, didn't storm into their house and scream. I sat in silence, let the venom settle. And in that silence, a seed was planted. They wanted a monster? I would give them one. The next day, I packed nothing. I didn't need clothes or money. I needed distance. I disappeared. Without a word, without a trace. 2 months later, the test turned positive. My husband's child. Proof of innocence no one would ever ask for. I carried alone, birthed alone, raised him alone. A son with his father's eyes and my silence. The nights were long, but my resolve was longer. I didn't waste time on tears. I was building something sharper than grief, a weapon. For 2 years, I lived invisible. I studied the law, quietly redirected the remnants of my husband's accounts into places only I could touch. I recorded everything I had ever found on his brother. Old messages, photos, whispers from women who had been cornered by him too. Evidence, enough to choke him. I taught myself patience. Patience is what turns survival into revenge. And then he found me. It was raining. My boy was on the porch, stacking blocks, his laughter slicing through the storm. I felt him before I saw him, my husband, standing across the street, drenched, frozen. His eyes locked on the child, his jaw clenched, lips trembling. Is that? His voice cracked like a man who'd swallowed glass. I didn't answer. I stepped forward, pulled my son close, and shut the door in his face. That was the first cut. He came back, of course, again and again, pleading now, demanding. His mother at his side, her curses turned into choked apologies. His sisters, quiet as shadows. And then his brother, smug, still smirking, until I pressed play. The recording echoed through the room, his voice, laughing, boasting about how easy it had been to ruin me, how he'd convinced them all, how pathetic my husband was for believing him without question. The smirk died. My husband's face collapsed. The silence was heavier than any scream. That was the second cut. The third was legal. I handed the evidence to the police. The brothers' list of victims came forward, one by one, emboldened by my file. His empire of lies crumbled in weeks. He wasn't smirking when they dragged him away in chains. I didn't watch the trial. I didn't need to. I already knew the ending. The final cut was the cleanest. My husband, broken, begging for forgiveness he hadn't earned, standing outside the small home I'd built from the ashes. "I didn't know," he whispered. "I thought—" I looked at him, really looked, at the man who once promised me forever and gave me betrayal instead. "I know what you thought," I said. My voice was calm, steel wrapped in silk. "You thought I was disposable. And now, you're right." I closed the door. This time, it stayed shut. Justice doesn't always come loud. Sometimes it comes in silence. In the absence of begging. In the look on a man's face when he realizes the life he tossed aside is the only one that mattered. My son sleeps peacefully now. He doesn't know the war I fought to keep him safe, or the blood I buried in silence. One day, maybe I'll tell him. Maybe I won't. All that matters is this. They dragged me through the streets once, but I walked out of the fire untouched. And when I shut the door, I shut it on all of them, forever.